And so I wanted to go back to Rusty Nelson because you brought him up, and I'm remembering there's an incident in the book where didn't you drive from Minnesota to Nebraska at one point to investigate, and then you actually picked up Rusty Nelson? Can you tell that story of what happened when you guys got pulled over?
Well, Rusty said that he had blackmail pictures. Rusty is supposed to register as a sex offender. And I got money to one of his attorneys so he could fight it. And under the condition, he said that he had blackmail pictures, under the condition that he gave me the blackmail pictures. So he took me on this wild goose chase in Colorado for these blackmail pictures. And I quickly concluded that after a couple of days that he was just bullshitting me. Like I said, given his vocational pursuits, he's not going to be the
not the most reliable guy. Blackmail pedophilic photographers.
So I was driving back. I was going to drop him off at his girlfriend's place, and we were on this desolate highway. And I got pulled over. And I start the book with this. The cop has... I show the cop my driver's license. He doesn't, he doesn't want to see my driver's license. He doesn't want to see my registration. He just wants me to get in his car. And I get in the car.
Did he even bother saying why he pulled you over, or was it one of those things where you're just like, it's better to comply in the situation than ask?
No. He said I was doing, I think it was 64 in a 60 mile an hour. So
that makes sense. 4 miles over, you're dangerous to society.
It was very nominal, and but we're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, and I'm with someone who's got a very bad record because he's done some very bad things. So it's a tough situation for me. And I got out, and that guy was polished. Most of these Nebraska State Patrol guys I met are kind of obese, and they don't seem to have like a tremendous amount of gray matter.
Yeah, they're not going to win a chase. You could just walk at a normal pace away from them and you'll be fine.
But this guy was pretty polished, pretty buff, and he was different than these other Nebraska State Patrol troopers I met. So,
was it just his physical appearance, or was it energy-wise too?
Everything.
He was giving off
his physical appearance, his energy. It was like he'd been minted in Langley. I mean, that's the vibe.
Like a CIA Captain America.
Yeah, that's the vibe that I got from him. So he put me in this car, and he called in for priors. I don't have priors. Then he calls up for backup, and then he calls in Rusty's name. And then the dispatcher gives a lot of numbers. And I know that they're very bad numbers because it's Rusty Nelson. So then they take Rusty Nelson and they put him between. I'm in the squad car, and this other Nebraska State Patrol guy has pulled up, and they put Rusty between the two cars. Now, the guy that showed up struck me as a Nebraska State Patrol guy. He had a dog, and they just ripped everything apart in this SUV that I'd rented. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
And they found nothing because I'd been on this wild goose chase. And but yeah, I think that was the most frightened I was.
Yeah.
And Frank, because I'm with a very nefarious guy, and we're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the cop said to me, "We can search your car now, or we can arrest you and pound the car and search it. We're going to go one of two ways."
Yeah.
So I knew that like ACLU buzzwords were not going to ameliorate the situation. It was that guy was going to search that car.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a very jarring situation. I wasn't. I mean, I did have a similar thing. I wasn't with someone who the law was after, but I was speeding across state borders, North Carolina, Virginia, when I was playing summer baseball. This is over a decade ago. And I was going like 90, 95, probably not a single person on the road. And I get pulled over, and I got the same thing where they said, we're going to search your car, or we're going to take you in. And then they called for backup. They brought dogs. They bomb sniffed the car, drug sniffed the car, tearing everything up. 20 minutes passes, and they let me go. And nothing happened, but I was shaken up just from watching that happen, and going through that. So I can't imagine how jarring that must have been to get pulled over with Rusty Nelson in the car with you.
And I've had a death threat and all kinds of strange phone calls too. So there was that
Yeah.
that problem also. So yeah, I was that was, as I said, it was the most frightened I was throughout my entire
Yeah.
Franklin Odyssey.